Okay. Okay. And we are live. Welcome to Nerd Church, the place where we talk about the worst people, where on Thursdays we talk about some of the worst people in the world. And today, those worst people are the lovely people who decided that it would be an awesome idea to give Tommen a humanitarian award. Now, if you were watching last week, which I know is a bold assumption, um, you were probably um, not you were listening to Tom Homan lie about how he's like an amazing superhero who saves children from deadly monsters, when in fact he's someone who has done a lot of things that have caused children great injury. So we're skipping that. Instead, we're going to the fun part where we get to laugh at people for being ridiculous and also point out why they're wrong. So I'm Katie, this is Aldo and Dapper. Aldo's here for about an hour, and then we might keep going after that. We don't know. So let's get going. It depends on how much we can stand. And as always, when you hear something you want me to pause on, just tell me to pause.
I want to thank you for support. And I want to thank you again for this record.
I don't see any video.
You don't see the video?
Thank you very much.
I hear it, but I don't see anything moving.
Okay, let me stop sharing and let me try this screen sharing again.
Okay. I mean, it's not like the video is the most important part.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, is that better now?
Thank you for what you're doing, and again, the Todd, who General Flynn.
No, but it's fine.
Who?
Oh wait, now it's better.
Okay.
Tensi was going to be here today as well, but could not because he's literally having to take care of his first duty, his household, his own family, which is under risk. So let's pray for these men who are being attacked for helping America out. So I'd like to.
Did we like have we been like keeping track? We haven't been keeping track of officially how many people who were invited didn't show up.
It seems like virtually no one who was invited showed up. I think the only person who showed up who wasn't actually a part of this organization is this woman who's on screen now.
Yeah. And she kind of like, I think, got sent there to accept the award.
Yeah, it seems pretty clear to me that she's just one of those. It's one of those like, yeah, okay, I'm traveling for work. It's whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Like she's there to do her job, and now she is going to get given this very sad plaque.
Is it see-through?
Yes, it well, here, I'll just hit play so that we can view this thing in its whole glory.
Okay. I didn't even notice it was there until you mentioned that there was a plaque.
Well, I've watched this before, so I knew about the plaque.
Give you the award on behalf of Thompson to make sure it gets to him and give him our best.
It's just a laser-etched piece of plastic.
Yes.
That's so freaking lazy.
Yes, that is literally like the plaque that my partner got when he won employee of the year when he was the general manager of a Best Western
Nice.
that had a total of 12 employees. Only, you know what? I'm going to say that in his case, it's actually impressive because he was pretty much keeping that hotel running. He earned that award.
Hey, that's more than Tom Homey can say.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he may have a plexiglass trophy, but it's a plexiglass trophy that actually means something.
Hey, Catholics for Catholics. If you ever watch this, it's unlikely, but if you ever do, electroplating looks a whole lot nicer, and it's not that expensive.
Yeah. Also, like there are at least two. Also, like okay, there are at least two Catholic supply stores in the Metro Phoenix area, both of which have like all kinds of like statues and stuff, which they could have given him.
Honestly, that would make me feel more uncomfortable
No,
because this
no,
is just laughable.
no, this is better. Like, do
Yeah,
not get me wrong. This is 100% better because they need to keep the Catholic Church's name out of their mouth in spite of it being in their name twice.
yeah.
But I'm just saying that it's like like thinking about this Catholic brain, it's a weird choice.
Yeah. But even as a non-Catholic, I would feel uncomfortable if it was like, oh, look, here's a statue of, the Virgin Mary with thanks for you for doing
Yeah,
your job of murdering people, including kids.
yeah,
I would feel really weird about that, even as a non-Catholic.
yeah. Oh no, like I say, the sad plexiglass is better, but that's the one thing I want that I keep thinking about is the fact that like these people are like they're cosplaying power,
Yeah.
right? These are people who have very little actual access to power, so they're acting the way that people who have access to power behave, so that the people who
Yeah.
so that Donald Trump, who basically acts like he's casting people for a role, will look at them and go, I like the cut of his jib.
You know what? I think what they really should have done is gone to the Home Depot, gotten some floral decorations, spray painted them gold, and then just used, like a stencil for the lettering. Because really, that is in fact Trump style. It is tacky floral decorations from Home Depot, spray painted gold, which, yes, has been confirmed as what he decorated the Oval Office with.
They weren't from Home Depot, they were from AliExpress.
Oh, okay. Well, then it would be a step up if they went to Home Depot to get their floral decorations.
Exactly.
Also, for the guy who complains that much about China, getting your decoration from AliExpress certainly is a choice.
Yeah. Well, like I say, going to Home Depot would be a step up in the same way that, we can't, do this on your channel, Dapper, because you have too many subscribers. So like it would dignify them.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Still trying to get to 15K though.
I'm still trying to get to 15. Okay, today I checked our analytics. It was a glorious day. Our videos have a total of 1,000 views.
Hey, that's a milestone.
Yeah. Oh no, it's a milestone. And I like that milestone. But I'm just saying we're small enough. We don't lend him dignity.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to hit play because this is too much.
White House now, so we will make sure this gets to him. Thank you, everyone.
So we can toss it in the trash.
Yeah.
This is the end of this ceremony.
Yay, we're
Yes,
almost
we are
done.
involved in politics and and the culture around us doing our part, whether it's ballot chasing or doing events like this or standing up and backing courageous leaders. But so all of you people of faith know this is a spiritual war. There is a war for souls, and it is taking place all around us. You know, people were asking me something.
Okay, that whole thing about people of faith and a war for souls, that is very evangelical Protestant language.
Yeah.
Like Catholics will talk about spiritual warfare. But when Catholics are talking about spiritual warfare, we're talking about actual demons. And like Catholics who don't believe in actual demons, or who don't believe that like demon possession is really a problem that most people have to deal with, don't care about spiritual warfare. So like and I just want to point this out because that's one of the problems about this kind of political alliance that John Yep is making with white evangelical Protestants, is that it gets those terms and concepts from white evangelical Protestantism into Catholicism. Because in order to talk to white conservative Protestants, he has to use their language. So, which is a problem, because when he's saying spiritual warfare, anybody who's a Catholic who like is not familiar with white evangelical Protestants isn't going to catch that dog whistle. Right? Okay. So like Aldo, when he said like people of faith, did that like trigger any like alarm bells? Like this sounds like, what did that language sound like to you? Like I'm asking as somebody who's kind of like our test subject, because you haven't had to deal with these people ever.
You're the unspoiled Catholic perspective. I'm the non-Catholic perspective.
Yes.
Well, you know, the term people of faith immediately makes me think of us versus them, and
yeah,
and then yeah, it has some you know, it sounds a bit like, you know, one of the Conjuring movies or an Exorcist movie in a sense.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. But it's not a phrase that you would ever like expect to hear from a Catholic priest or a bishop or anything, right? Yeah.
Right.
You know, and yeah. Anyway, so let's get going. And now we're buffering.
Darn it, YouTube. YouTube has been screwing up a lot lately.
Yeah.
They need to get their stuff together. I almost said something worse.
Yeah. Well, okay. Here we go.
Gotta remember, this is called Nerd Church. I need to behave myself.
The Children Award.
While we're buffering, I mean, I always try not to remark on other people's physical appearance because I have no room to talk about that. But it does kind of disturb me that John Yep's suit looks like it's way too big for him.
Look, there's a difference between commenting on people's appearances that they can't choose and when it is clearly a choice, which is why I felt fine mentioning that woman had MAGA face, because that's not just a thing that happens. That's a conscious effort that you went through. And I'm pretty sure that John Yep could buy a suit that fits.
Yeah. I mean, as it is, he looks like he looks like a kid. He looks like a kid who borrowed his older brother's suit.
Not that. Yeah. You got a picture of Mary, I'm not Catholic. Why do you got Mary up there for? What's that? I think one certain Catholic outlet actually gave a very strong negative statement about Catholics for bringing Mary into this whole situation. Well, let me just tell you why she's here.
Okay, I really want the buffering to end so that he can tell us why she's here. Because my personal feeling as a Catholic, seeing that is basically like to be very, very upset that he is using the Virgin Mary to justify his bigotry.
Oh yeah, but also, I
For
mean,
American
I expect Mary to show up pretty much anytime anything is going to be like branded as Catholic, because Catholics have a lot of veneration for Mary,
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
like if anyone was like, "Hey, why do you think we have a statue of Mary?" and it's anything to do with Catholicism, I'm just be like, "Well, because you're Catholic. That's it. That's all I need. You don't need to go further. I get it."
Yeah, I know. But see, the thing is he's not going to just go, yeah, we're Catholic. Of course we have Mary. Duh. No, he's going to try to claim Mary for his cause.
Yeah.
And I think that Mary might have, and see, the problem is that when you're Catholic, you have to go, I wonder what Mary is going to think about that. Because Mary,
Andrew Jackson understood the role of Our Lady on January 7th and January 8th in the Battle of New Orleans. And he made a trip after that battle to thank the nuns who had spent the night in prayer, praying to Our Lady that we would beat back the Brits. And we did, right? With 14, I think, dead and 2,000 on their side dead. So Mary's got a role in this, right? Also our logo. What's Catholics for God's logo? You'll find that this very image, not far from here, outside Washington, D.C., in a place called Mount Vernon.
Okay, now it is true that the nuns were praying for the Americans to win the Battle of New Orleans. That was 100% because they were worried about being taken over by the Brits. Because at that time, like, America had freedom of religion, and Britain didn't have freedom of religion for Catholics.
Right.
That was literally what it was. Like, the nuns were looking out for themselves.
Which, I mean, look, it's fine to not want to have your religion repressed by
Yeah.
the state. I'm not going to blame them for that. But like thinking that was some kind of like version of like American patriotism, and then Mary was just like hopping on the America fuck yeah train. Like, no, I don't think that's a reasonable conclusion. And granted, not Catholic, so I'm saying this as an outsider who's trying to think like I might be on the inside, but seems really iffy.
Yeah, no, it's super iffy. I mean, like, there are some battles in history that you kind of wonder if, that like weird things happen in warfare. And it's easy to understand how someone could kind of go, yeah, I think that might have been a miracle. The Battle of New Orleans was not one of those. And the attempt of these guys to turn the Battle of New Orleans into like the Battle of Lepanto is kind of ridiculous.
Green room, where President Washington had this very image next to in his most precious spot there in the green room. So we took that image from George Washington, and it's a symbol. So Mary's role, but
by the way, the religiosity of George Washington has been greatly exaggerated.
Protector of America, and once upon a time.
Yes, George Washington's religiosity has been greatly exaggerated. Also, it's true, he was given a picture of the Virgin Mary reading, that is what Catholics for Catholics use as their logo.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that he was looking at it as anything other than a piece of art.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely have religious art that I own that is not from religions that I have ever been associated with because I appreciate its aesthetic quality, and I'm not going to be disrespectful of it, but it also does not indicate any sense of like deep devotion to the subject of that art.
Right. So it's stretching. I mean, George Washington was like, I mean, he went he practiced religion as much as was typical for an upper class Virginia planter in that time and place who wasn't like super into like deism or any of the other philosophies that were going around at the time. But I haven't seen like evidence that he had like a great deal of like deep personal piety.
I have seen good reason to think that he didn't.
Yeah.
He was probably a deist and mostly an apatheist.
Yeah.
And he certainly wasn't like a, oh, we should destroy religion or Christianity or anything. But like, yeah, sorry, all the people who want to claim George Washington as a Christian hero. He just wasn't one. He probably wasn't a Christian in any meaningful sense.
Yeah, he was kind of like the poster child for being indifferent to religion. It's like it's there, it's fine, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so let's keep going. I want to get like as far as we can.
When she was pregnant with a guy that I know, I hope to know, she had a cousin coming to visit her. Her cousin was Elizabeth. This is actually from the readings that the whole Catholic Church read in churches all around the world today. Elizabeth comes in. Spoiler, I'm going to tell you if you don't know the story, so it's the first time hearing it. Elizabeth comes in. Mary greets her. What happens? John the Baptist recognizes Christ in the womb and leaped for joy from the sacred.
Okay, did you guys catch that?
Yeah, he's doing the John the Baptist jumping for
Yeah.
joy thing. Yep.
Yeah. But before that, when he was talking about the Annunciation, he says that he said in his retelling of the Annunciation, Elizabeth came to visit Mary.
It was the other way around.
Yes.
What? Why is he just dumb?
Yes. He's
Okay.
just dumb.
Okay,
He's
cool.
just dumb and not paying attention.
Cool.
Because I mean, which also means that he doesn't meditate upon. Okay, I'm going to say something that Aldo will know are fighting words. I do not think John Yep has spent very much time meditating upon the joyful mysteries of the Rosary, and perhaps he
Yeah.
should fix that.
Okay, so this is
Because-
me. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Because for the benefit of people who don't know, one of the devotional practices a lot of Catholics do when they pray the Rosary is they meditate on different parts of the stories in the Bible and related to the life of Christ and the life of the Virgin Mary. And a big one of those is the Visitation. So the fact that he didn't know that Mary was going to see Elizabeth is like a real good clue that he hasn't been paying as much attention as he thinks he has.
Yeah. Now I have a quick question, and it's not terribly important, but so I know that different groups will divide up like Bible stories into different sort of chunks and give them names, right? My understanding was that the Annunciation was just the bit of Gabriel telling Mary about Jesus, and that
Oh,
was
yeah.
is her visit to Elizabeth also included in that event? Is that like a subcategory in that?
No. Sorry. I may have misspoken, or you may have misheard me. I said the visitation.
Okay, I was just making sure that I had, because
Yeah.
like I said, different groups will divide that up
Yeah,
differently. I don't
yeah,
think it matters much. I just want to make sure I
yeah,
know what I'm
yeah.
talking about.
No. Okay. The enunciate in like the Annunciation is when the angel Gabriel shows up, says, "Yo, you're gonna have Jesus," right? I'm
Mhm.
paraphrasing. The visitation is Mary's visit to Elizabeth,
Right.
but
Okay.
when Catholics are talking about that episode, they just call it the visitation.
Right. Okay.
And if you just say the visitation, everybody knows, like, or if they say, or if they don't know, you just say, huh? And you say, when Mary went to see Elizabeth.
Right. Okay.
And then it's like, yeah,
I thought that's how it was like divvied up in terms of like titles, but like
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. You are 100% correct.
Okay.
Okay. So now he's, John the Baptist kicked when he was like 5 months gestation, therefore whatever.
Scriptures. John the Baptist, a baby, was the first to recognize Christ.
That is sort of the point of the story.
Mary needs our help with people. We need more John the Baptist out here who will recognize the defenseless, those who have no voice. That's what we are. Speaking of John the Baptist, there's a bishop in this room, okay? So, like, I get it, immigration topic, Catholic Church has been front and center of it. Holy Father's spoken about a number of times. You have the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, which gets half of their budget from the federal government with grants for immigration purposes. So it's a kind of a hot topic. Yes, we respectfully invited the Bishops' Conference to come to this, to attend this, to be aware of this. Why do we do that? Because Tom Homan himself said, hey, I haven't gotten a call yet from the Bishops' Conference. I would love to talk to them. So we love dialogue. So we would want to foster that discussion any way we can to get that here. But bishops, speaking of bishops, there's been a certain John the Baptist who has been in the desert crying out on different issues. You may have last seen him when he was in front of the entire Conference of Catholic Bishops in the November meetings. And he raised his hand and he challenged the whole body and asked for an answer about why there's a very prominent priest who continued to preach the heresy that two men can be married to each other. And that man is priest not been called out to this day. He stood up there.
I feel like that's not technically a heresy. I don't think it's been formally declared. I'm not sure.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Has that been officially declared a heresy? Because I don't remember that council, but like I don't know. I don't remember all the Catholic councils.
Okay. It's not a heresy.
That's what I thought.
But the thing is that, like, all of these guys are basically like John Yep, John Strickland, all of these kinds of people are basically convinced that they are allowed to pick up the 1917 Code of Canon Law, which is like 3 codes of canon law ago, and go and flip through it and kind of cherry pick whatever it is they want to get out of that code of canon law.
Of course.
And then on that basis, declare whatever they want to be a heresy.
Do you think anyone has ever told them that a violation of canon law is a violation of a church discipline, but that's different from a heresy?
Yeah, but
they don't care.
But have you considered
Okay, right, of course. Jeez. Why
have you considered that you're really the heretic?
Why am I better at Catholicism than these guys? I'm not even Catholic. I've never been Catholic.
Well, I mean, Pope Leo has his, like nested hierarchy theory. Right?
Well, then
Like,
maybe according to the taxonomic rules of Pope Leo, I am in fact a Catholic in some weird way. But like, I have never been someone who's been subject to the disciplines of the Catholic Church in any way other than like maybe some of the Catholics would like me to have been, but I haven't been. Like, I went to Catholic school for a few years. That's it. Why do I know more about the difference between heresy and the disciplines of the church than John Yep does?
we don't know.
Okay.
But, oh, okay. Now, because he mentioned the thing with Strickland and the USCCB. Okay, obviously, Homan has been trying to pick a fight with the Pope for a really long time because he wants to feel important.
He knows that the Swiss Guard don't actually just carry halberds. They actually have real guns and everything, right?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
okay, yeah, well, and also like, so Leo is just kind of ignoring him for a while
Which
and
seems mostly appropriate.
just letting him show his whole ass to the world.
Do we know if Leo actually knows about this guy's existence?
I'm sure that he does
Okay.
because Leo keeps a really close eye on US Catholic politics, at least through the filter of his older brothers. So I have, because he talks to his older brothers on Facebook all the time. I assume now they have some special Vatican thing that they use to communicate.
Mm,
But he talks to his brothers a lot. So I think that he's pretty up to
okay.
date. I'm sure he knows who Tom Homan is. I think he also doesn't particularly care to deal with that individual.
Yeah, I do kind of
Especially,
forget that he has brothers who are just like guys from Chicago.
yeah, well, one of them lives in Florida, which is
Much
probably the
worse.
most guy from Chicago thing to do besides still living in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, I moved to Arizona specifically because I didn't like living in the kind of places that Chicago is, which is to say, snowy.
Yeah. But anyway, the point is that Strickland really did get up because he's a bishop emeritus, which means he still gets to go to the USCCB meeting.
Mhm.
And he really did stand up and denounce Father James Martin for his support of like equal treatment for people who are, gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, whatever. And James Martin supports civil marriage. He has, to the best of my knowledge, never suggested that the Catholic Church allow same-sex couples to get married. He is fine with there being like a ritual for blessing those couples. He thinks that they should be able to live as a couple happily. He thinks they should be able to raise children. He's never advocated that they should be able to get married in the Catholic Church. James Martin supports their right to be civilly married because he feels that US civil marriage law and Catholic marriage are two different things.
I mean, they definitely are in very many very real ways.
Yeah. And the thing is like Father James Martin is a Jesuit. That means he's really smart and he really knows his scriptures.
And he's hiding the flat earth from us.
Yes, exactly. And he, and he just is very careful about how he phrases things. And it really annoys people like Strickland who shoot off their mouths and say dumb stuff that James Martin advocates for his position without being a schismatic and without being a heretic. And that's kind of where we are. And so, yeah, Strickland basically got up, was like, well, why haven't you excommunicated James Martin? And they told him, sit down, Grandpa.
Yeah.
Only they didn't tell him, sit down, Grandpa, because they're all about the same age as him.
I mean,
So,
as far as I can tell, that advocacy is neither against any church disciplines nor any doctrines or dogmas. So it's neither a violation of canon law nor is it a heresy as far as I can tell. But then again, not Catholic.
no, it's not. And the fact that James Martin is like, okay, James Martin has a job at the Vatican. He works for the Dicastery for Communications. He's also an associate editor of America Magazine, which is the like flagship Jesuit publication. I actually have a copy.
Is that a Jesuit helicopter?
No, it's
It's a Franciscan helicopter, isn't it?
It's like basically part of an article explaining how Trump doesn't understand just war theory. But the point is that James Martin has love and respect and a platform, and Strickland doesn't, and that makes Strickland mad.
Yeah, I can see why that would be the case.
Yep, so let's go.
As John the Baptist was symbolically mocked, and they didn't even pay attention.
What?
So, but these the warriors that we need, whether it's General Flynn, whether it's Tom Homan, whether it's people sitting in this room, whether it's Bishop, whether it's some of the priests here I see, whether there's thousands of you watching this online, with the media in the back. We need more people like this to fight the good fight. So, Bishop Strickland, would you close us off with a prayer and give us a little pep talk on the spiritual warfare? Thank you, Bishop.
It's just they just switched to this for no reason with no sound. That's just really bad production choices.
Yeah.
Truly, it is the greatest honor to be compared to a saint, John the Baptist. But we're all called to be saints from our baptism. When we become children of God sacramentally, we can't forget that. We can't pretend it's just a nice ceremony where a little water is washed over our heads.
Come on, YouTube.
An indelible mark is left on us. And for the children that never make it to baptism, we have to make reparation.
No, we don't.
I could talk for a long time, but I know that I'm only allotted a few moments here. But let me share with you, I'm staying with a family here as I'm visiting. I came for the March for Life, then John Yep.
He's staying with the family because he can't afford a hotel room.
And uses them very well. And he said, Bishop, could you come to this? Because you're going to be in town anyway. I said, absolutely. But I'm staying with a family, one wonderful family, 6 kids, 1 in heaven, baptized, died at 2 years old. But we know he's in heaven. That's our faith. He's praying for his siblings. But 3.
Okay, I just want to address this because there is a persistent belief that the Catholic Church teaches that unbaptized babies don't go to heaven. They got rid of that idea, like, basically around Vatican II. And then Pope when they came up with the concept of baptism by desire. And then Pope Francis clarified that, yeah, we were wrong about limbo. Like, we don't know exactly what happens to unbaptized babies, but we're pretty sure that God takes care of it, and we're not going to worry about the metaphysics. So, so the default assumption among most Catholics is that, like, for sure, anybody who dies, like little kids who die unbaptized, just go to heaven. Strickland is preaching a old version that was never like strictly dogma,
Right.
and was or even really like it never quite reached the level of even stuff that Catholics were required to believe. It was just
sorry.
yeah, it was basically, it was like, this is our best model of the afterlife. We have a better model.
Was this belief ever denounced?
The belief that unbaptized children go to limbo has been officially declared to be incorrect.
Okay. Okay. Does that mean that I have to change how the planes work in my D&D games?
No.
Okay, cool.
No. D&D's metaphysics remain unaffected.
All right, so people can still go to limbo if they're chaotic neutral in my D&D games.
Yes, that's fine.
Awesome.
You can send chaotic neutral D&D characters to limbo.
Cool.
I mean, there's also like a kind of like super out there opinion that says that when the whole like, what you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and what you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven, literally means that the Pope can, under certain circumstances, actually help God rewrite reality.
Oh.
But that's part of the heresy that's called Ultramontanism.
Which is a weird name.
But that's what it's called.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, most of the heresies have weird names because most of them are very nondescriptive anyway.
Yeah. But anyway, so like, so you can't quite think that without like edging towards Ultramontanism. But the point is that most people are like, yeah, babies go to heaven. That seems pretty obvious.
Well, you say that, but it was not obvious for like 1,000 years. So like,
Well,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Well, yeah, but it's obvious now.
Okay, fair enough, I guess. I'm
We
too
live in
history major brained.
2026. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is that, okay, church history exists, but that doesn't mean that we don't still live in 2026.
No, I think what everyone needs to do is actually follow the example of Mount Athos in Greece, and actually even still fly the flag of the Roman Empire, and also change your clocks to Roman time so that the first hour starts at sunrise. Because really the monks over on Mount Athos, they're the ones who really get it.
Yeah, the monks on Mount, yeah, well.
Also, no women.
Yeah.
Unless you're refugees. They let in refugees who are out to sea, to be fair.
Yeah.
Who are women.
I believe Mount Athos doesn't even allow female animals.
Correct.
Yeah.
Although some of them have the audacity to fly or walk or crawl or swim there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no cows, no she goats, no chickens.
Yeah. Okay, so let's keep going with this. So I just love that Strickland like just randomly was in town.
You're at home.
And they were just like, hey, show up.
For the family, they're
Yeah. So they're like, okay.
The 7-year-old read the first reading. Beautifully.
That's
the
cute.
5-year-old boy led us in the responsorial song.
Okay, so
he struggled with a word or two. Adverse.
So he's being impressed that these children are literate.
I mean,
Our adults would
for
know.
for a 7-year-old, that does take a little bit of effort and skill.
But I think about that as where,
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that it's kind of like, yeah, these kids read a book.
Yeah, it's cute and all, but like sure,
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
super impressive, but like I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna knock him for being like, for finding kids doing cute stuff cute.
Yeah, that's true. I do, however, want to point out that the reason why he was celebrating Mass in a private home.
Because he's not allowed to anywhere
No,
else.
no, you are allowed to.
Oh.
Priests are allowed to celebrate masses in private homes under like very
Oh no, that's not
specific-
what I meant. I'm pretty sure he's been banned from the local Catholic churches there, so he can't do it anywhere
Oh.
else.
Yes, that was exactly what I was trying to say. He was saying Mass in a private home because that's the only place that he's allowed to say Mass.
Mm-hmm. Or I guess just off of church property. He could probably say it in other private places.
Well, I mean, he actually has said Mass Maronite Church because
Different bishop.
different bishop, but no Roman Rite priest will allow no Roman Rite bishop will allow him to say Mass in one of their churches.
Okay, this is probably very, very inside baseball, but when he said Mass at a Maronite church, did he use an Eastern Rite, or did he just say a Latin Mass in a Maronite church?
He said a Latin Mass in a Maronite church.
Okay. I mean, as far as I know, that's not like disallowed. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of those things where it's like that's up to the Maronites.
Right.
And I don't know enough about the internal workings of the Maronite church to speculate on why that priest made that decision.
I mean, I've never been Catholic, and I've definitely never been a Maronite, obviously. But my understanding is that the general view is that all rites which are allowed for Catholic churches are like valid and whatnot, and that it's up to the bishops, as well as with some input on like from the Pope, as to which rites are going to be used at which points. And I think it's okay in terms of church discipline.
Okay. Sorry. Let me clarify. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. A Catholic priest from any Catholic rite can, as long as it's like, okay with the people that go to that with the parish, right? Can say Mass in a church, in a Catholic church.
Yeah.
What I was talking about was I don't know why that specific Maronite priest who allowed Strickland to say Mass in his church made that decision.
Got it.
Not because like there's because priests will do, we're going to have this rite just for funsies sometimes. Like
I want to go to a Mozarabic Rite Mass at some point. I would like that.
That would be cool. Like I know like for example, there's a Chaldean Catholic priest who will sometimes do an Aramaic Mass.
Oh, cool.
Or rather a Mass in Aramaic down at the Newman Center by ASU. And it's basically billed as, hey, come hear Mass in Aramaic.
I would not mind getting a heads up, because I might want to look at my schedule and see if it's possible for me to attend, because I don't know, I'm a giant nerd about a lot of things, including churches, church history, linguistics, and all that stuff. So like, not Catholic, but I might like to hear a Mass in Aramaic.
Well, it usually happens during Holy Week.
Okay.
So I'll keep an eye on the schedule and I'll let you know.
I've heard divine liturgies in Arabic.
Yeah. Okay. But enough. I want to see how far Aldo has to leave pretty soon.
I'm sorry, Aldo. I'm making everything take too long. I always do that.
So let's keep going.
talking about the children. That's what this is about. Tom Homan would be the first to say, remember the children. And as we've heard these numbers, 500,000.
Yes, we've heard these numbers.
Yeah, these mostly made up numbers.
Lost. So Tom and his wonderful colleagues.
We can sit here and
Have a
shout out
lot more to
numbers
do.
too.
18.
There are children out there, 62,000.
Hi.
Wonderful. Saved.
798.
52 factorial.
But approximately 250,000 still lost to nowhere.
Most
I
of
have
those
said
children
for
are lost
many
to
years
record keeping errors.
That
Yeah.
I stand for the sanctity of the life of the unborn so as strongly as I can. Because if they are not respected and protected,
Okay,
the
I'm
most
I'm gonna
vulnerable, the most
fast
voiceless, the
forward a
weakest,
little
the
bit because
All right, while we're waiting for the buffering to catch up, is he trying to conflate
poorest,
alleged
everything as
children being lost in
the
immigration
tiny
and U.S. custody
ones, the
with
threats.
abortion? Because those seem like separate things. Like you could be it's fine to be concerned about both of those things, but they seem like different problems, and like they wouldn't at all have the same solutions at all. Like nothing that you could do to prevent or lower the number of abortions would have any effect on how many kids are lost track of by the United States government, and vice versa. So like I just don't get why we're talking about both of these in the same breath as if they're the same problem.
because their only frame of reference for caring about vulnerable people is abortion.
Right.
Because, keep in mind, like John Yep just a few minutes ago was like, oh yeah, the USCCB is getting all this money from the government for like running social programs, right? Which is a direct part of George Bush's like 1,000 points of light.
Okay. So remind me, was there something in the Gospels about like visiting the sick and the prisoner?
Yeah, there was something about that. Okay, I'm gonna
Okay.
stop
All
sharing
right.
so that I can fast forward a little bit.
Wasn't just abortion. In fact, actually, I don't remember abortion being explicitly talked about by Jesus at any point.
Yeah, but that's what he cares about.
Okay. I guess.
Because remember, the unborn don't need anything for very
I
long,
wanted
because
to
then
point
they're
out, I
born.
just noticed that it's on the.
That does make it convenient to advocate for them, because all you have to do is say,
Here.
"Hey, women, stop doing the thing," and there you go.
It
So
has
much
Mary,
easier than taking your time out of your own
and
life
Mary's
to go to
prayer
a prison.
is there in the Catholics for Catholics logo. You see those beads? That's not just decoration.
I actually
That's
don't see
the
beads.
rosary.
No, stop it.
Okay,
Make,
our
Oh,
mother
wait, actually, wait. This is exactly the part
pleaded
that I
for us
wanted. So I'm going to
to
run it back just a second.
no, she's
When he's
not
talking
holding
about-
rosaries.
Oh, okay, because he isn't describing the Catholics for Catholics logo. He's describing the iconography of Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Mm-hmm. Who is not holding a rosary?
Yes, although that black thing that's up there. Can you tell us what that is, please?
Me?
No, Aldo.
I mean, oh, okay. I was gonna say I would defer to Aldo.
I can't see the screen.
Oh, you can't see the screen. Okay, let me go back into screen sharing. Okay,
But
But
you mean
on-
the one that is in Our Lady of Guadalupe?
yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, Our Lady of Guadalupe, the black thing that
So
you
that is a sign of pregnancy.
yeah, and is it something? And she's, but it's not. But it's her belt,
Mhm,
right? It's not something she's holding in her hands.
correct.
Okay, so
Yeah, that's how do you mix that up, right? Like, okay, look, I own a rosary because my grandmother gave me one.
okay,
It doesn't look anything
okay,
like that.
Okay, let's just listen to him.
Okay.
Okay, and now we're buffering again.
I also can't hear
I
him.
wanted to point out,
Oh,
I
there he
just
is.
noticed that it's on the logo here. It has Mary,
Mhm.
and Mary's prayer is there in the Catholics for Catholics logo. You see those beads? That's not just decoration. That's the rosary. What is Mary, our mother, pleaded for us to do?
Okay, I just want to take a second to appreciate that. He, first of all, thinks that Our Lady of Guadalupe is holding a rosary, and that Our Lady of Guadalupe is the depiction of Mary that's in the Catholics for Catholics logo.
Was it? This man's an ordained bishop of the Catholic Church, right?
Yes.
That's not for pretends.
Yes.
That's. Can I pretend that he's actually just one of those like Episcopos Vagantes types that was actually like
No.
ordained by like some weird guy who's like, oh, I was ordained by old Catholic bishop. No, I can't do that. Okay.
No. Okay. And it gets worse. Do you know why it gets worse? Because he was a bishop of Tyler, Texas. I looked up on the website. Tyler, Texas has an Our Lady of Guadalupe parish.
Which means he's was it built after he retired?
No.
Of course, which means he's visited it.
Yes.
Because that would be an obligation. That's part of the job.
Yes.
Okay.
And I would like to note, I actually looked it up, and Strickland apparently speaks Spanish. Like actual, like fluent Spanish. He has a little bit of he has a Texas accent. But he actually he has no excuse, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's
because okay, I have another piece of show and tell. Okay, this is in fact not an EV evolution chart.
Disappointing.
No, it's a Mary. It's a Mary chart.
Does it tell you which evolution stones you have to use on the basic Virgin Mary to get those various versions?
No, Mary just shows up and she has a different version. Well,
Okay.
whenever she
Doesn't even need a thunderstone.
No, Mary just like shows up and she looks how she looks and she's dressed how she's dressed.
I mean, to be fair, she is old enough to dress herself, so that makes sense.
Exactly. Like she can pick out a new iconography whenever she wants to. But the point is that like most Catholics will recognize at least like a couple of things, and that was all saying he has to take off. So
bye, Aldo. I don't know if you can hear me, but
I just wanted to give you. I just wanted to make sure that Aldo got to. I just wanted to see the look on Aldo's face when he realized that Strickland like doesn't know the memory of the iconography of Our Lady of Guadalupe, like just from memory.
Hey, I'm not a practicing Catholic, and even I know that. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're not a practicing Catholic, and yet if I tell you, if I walk up to you, or just right now, and I say, Aldo, is Our Lady of Guadalupe holding a rosary?
Of course not.
Of course not. No. And it's like everybody knows that.
I know that.
Yeah.
I'm not even a non-Catholic practicing Catholic. I'm just not a Catholic.
Yeah, and you know that. I mean, and actually the really ridiculous part is the only icon of the Virgin Mary that's regularly holding a rosary is specifically Our Lady of the Rosary.
That makes sense.
Which would mean that he also doesn't know that the iconography of Our Lady of Guadalupe is essentially the iconography of Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception.
This is
Yes.
I'm I am in pain on behalf of all the Catholics who will ever watch this. You have
Yes.
my sympathies, everybody.
Yes. Like you have no idea the amount of psychic damage that I took when I heard him say that. And, again, I would like to reiterate the fact that they basically just let Strickland retire out of mercy.
Yeah.
And
How did this guy get okay?
okay.
Did the Pope just rubber stamp this ordination? Did he check?
Um Basically, I think that what happened was that Tyler, Texas is in East Texas, which is like, although you can just close out whenever you want. You don't have to.
Bye, Aldo.
Bye. Sorry, I could see him sitting there like, I really need to go, but I don't want to be rude. Okay, so Strickland is the Bishop of Tyler, Texas, which is in East Texas. And East Texas was famously mainly settled by slave owning white Southerners who were Protestants.
Yeah.
And who originally lied to the Mexican government about their willingness to convert to Catholicism.
And their willingness to not have slaves.
Well, no, they were honest about their
okay.
desire to own slaves. It was just that the Mexican government assumed that when they told them that, slavery is illegal now,
They would listen.
that they would listen and that they would start freeing their slaves.
Instead, they started a war.
Yeah. So pretty much whenever you hear Republicans talking about, yeah, these people are going to come into our country and they're not going to assimilate and they're going to force us to become them or annex our land or whatever else.
Self-report.
Yeah, exactly. What they are literally saying is, we believe that anybody who is coming to the United States is going to behave the way that slave owning Southern Americans behaved when they immigrated to Texas in the 1820s and 30s.
Yeah. You know who really hates having all that stuff brought up to them is Texans who are big on remember the Alamo and the Texas Republic was so great. Yeah. Yeah, you guys literally rebelled against the sovereign government because they told you not to own other people as slaves.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing there to be proud of at all. Yeah.
Well, I mean, after the Alamo fell, there were 2 enslaved men who were freed by the Spanish.
Okay. I mean, that's something to be proud of, but not if you're a Republican Texan, because that wasn't you. That was the Mexicans.
Well, yeah, but
I'm sorry, but if I could swap the place of all of the Republicans with a bunch of just randomly selected Mexicans, I would absolutely do that. Sorry, Mexico. I know that would suck for you guys. But
I was going to say, let's just let the Mexicans who are, able to
absolutely.
Yeah, we don't need to make people solve our problems.
I'm just saying I would trade Republicans for Mexicans any day of the week. They are on average better than all of you.
Well, the thing is I don't want people to leave or go away or be traded for other people.
No, I'm not actually saying it as a policy measure. I am just saying the average Mexican is several leagues above the average Republican.
Yeah, probably because sometime in the 1980s, the US political parties basically split into good Kirk and evil Kirk. Um, and that's the best description of our current political situation that I've ever heard.
The way to tell is see who has the heavier eyeliner.
Obviously.
Yeah, heavy
Okay.
eyeliner means evil. That's why JD Vance uses so much eyeliner.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna hit play again because we only have 6 minutes.
I'm
And
sorry. I'm so
and
bad
we-
at this.
and we might actually finish today, which is good.
You know my over-under for a 2-hour stream is 3 minutes, right?
Yeah, but I think we can beat that.
Okay.
Besides, I really want you to come back so that we can like talk some more about the so that we can talk on camera about the SSPX nonsense. Because I would really like to sit down with you and like
Torture me?
Yeah, torture you.
Yeah, I get
by
it.
making you listen to Athanasius Schneider's like, but have you considered level argument about why when July 1st rolls around and the SSPX consecrate some bishops that they are absolutely not being allowed to consecrate, that they will not be in schism.
Hey, remember that time I talked about wandering bishops?
Yeah. Oh, okay. It should be pointed out that right now, okay, Athanasius Schneider, you would think from his name that he's German, right?
I mean, I would also just
And-
think maybe he's just an American who happens to have a German name.
He's German. Well, I mean, okay, if he was American, he would be an American of German descent. But no, he is actually a like German bishop.
Okay.
He is not in Germany.
Is he retired?
No, he got assigned to be an auxiliary bishop in Kazakhstan.
What the hell is he doing anywhere but there?
Well, no, sorry, no. Strickland is just retired. Like
No, I mean the Schneider guy. Where is he?
Schneider. Oh no. They have the internet in Kazakhstan.
Oh, okay. So I thought this was going to be
So
something
he-
he was going to show up in the United States for.
No. He just writes letters.
Got it. Okay, I was confused. Sorry about that.
No, the only way that like he would participate in that consecration would be if he like left Kazakhstan
Right.
to do that.
Which would itself, without permission, be a problem.
Yes, it would. Yeah, it should be mentioned that an auxiliary bishop is you have a bishop, right? And being a bishop is a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
So you get assigned auxiliary bishops, which are like assistant bishops.
Assistant to the bishop.
Assistant to the but they themselves are bishops.
I'm just making a joke about The Office. Don't worry about it. I get it.
Okay, sorry, I've never seen The Office.
Oh, okay. One of the running gags is there's someone who's an assistant to the manager and who always calls himself assistant manager.
Yeah. Well, these guys are actually
they're ordained bishops.
Yeah, they're ordained bishops because part of the reason why you have an auxiliary bishop is that, for example, when people have to go through like certain ceremonies like confirmation that actually require a bishop to be present.
Aren't enough bishops to go around all the time.
Yeah, it's too much for like one guy. Like in some dioceses, he might literally like physically not be able to get to all the places that are having confirmations.
It might not be my place to say, but I feel like that would be the time when you just split a diocese into a few smaller dioceses.
Well, you can do that, or you can just appoint some auxiliary bishops.
Yeah.
Because, and also it kind of like allows more flexibility. Like, for example, the Diocese of Phoenix, where I live, and no, I'm not doxing myself because the Diocese of Phoenix covers like way more than just Phoenix. But the Diocese of Phoenix right now is like the second biggest diocese in the US. we're also a really new diocese. So rather than, so like right now, they're kind of giving us a little more time to see, like, is this Phoenix place just going to be a flash in the pan?
Right.
Which is why technically we're actually under the Archbishop of Santa Fe.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
that's very far.
yeah. Which it will. I mean, remember, like back in the day, Arizona and New Mexico were both the province of Nueva Mexico.
Yeah.
And then that split didn't happen until like the 1860s.
Hey, remember when the Pope used to just routinely appoint bishops to sees that had literally 0 parishioners or parishes?
Oh, they still do that.
Oh, good.
But the reason why the reason they still have titular bishops, and sometimes like that's a way, like especially if you have a bishop who is a bishop in a very poor diocese, you make him the titular bishop of a diocese that no longer really exists, but he gets like a certain stipend that he can then use to like pay for his actual diocese.
Hmm.
Or sometimes it's like a way of like giving people like certain like weird privileges that go with having like this kind of diocese. Basically, there's a lot of protocol involved.
Okay.
I
want to point out I'm not currently the one who's making it take longer.
Yeah, okay. Sorry.
I'm just saying you can't blame me on this one.
I know. But I'm just pointing out that like, and actually the fact, which also raises the point that like the fact that Strickland is basically being told, no, you can't even offer mass.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
It is pretty big when like there's lots of dioceses where having an extra bishop to just like go around and like do bishopy things would be desirable. Well, I didn't hit play.
Pray the prayer of the rosary daily. That is our strongest hope. With all the great work of men and women like Tom Homan, we must pray as the people of God. And remember, we are all children before him. Now let us pray especially for our shepherds, from Rome to the USCCB, to pray for the shepherds' hearts, to truly be shepherds, not politicians, not CEOs of a giant corporation, but shepherds. And this shepherd's heart has to speak for the children.
So let's be really clear here. He's saying that when the USCCB goes out there and says people in detention are being abused and having their human rights denied, and we think that at a bare minimum, we should be allowed to go inside once a week and hold religious services for people who are being held in detention, and to make sure that they're being like housed and fed adequately. Strickland is saying that they are acting like politicians.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but every every Sunday there is prescribed gospel reading, right?
Yes, yes.
And over the course of a few years, you get around to basically reading every bit of every gospel, right?
Yes,
Okay, so this guy knows that there are commands that the followers of Christ are supposed to minister to people in prisons to see to their like actual physical needs, right? Like that's in there.
oh, okay, okay. To be clear, Strickland, just if doing rough math on the amount of time he's been priest
Mhm.
and the fact and the amount of time he's been Catholic, which is always, and the like fact that it's a 3-year lectionary cycle means that he's heard the whole thing at least 20 times.
Right. And that's excluding any private reading.
Yes, yes. But I mean, I'm just talking about like he is in the church, he is hearing the words.
Yeah,
right?
I'm just pointing that out for anyone who might watch is that like this is the bare minimum number of times he's gone through the entirety of the gospels.
Yes. And he, as a priest and as a bishop, has preached on the complete lectionary cycle at least once.
Okay.
He,
So he knows better.
No, yes, he knows better. He
Okay.
has zero excuse for the words that are coming out of his mouth.
That-
And as you know, and as we've seen, the way that he's making that excuse is basically by saying it is by basically saying we're the good guys. Even if he has to make up numbers to make himself believe that he's one of the good guys.
So here's the thing. I get a lot of the what I would call general nonsense that comes out of Christianity in terms of like political positions. A lot of it I get, right? Because I can see where you get there, but there are certain things where I don't see where you get there. Like opposition to like ministering to people who are held captive or to programs designed to keep, you know, people housed and fed and things because like if there's one thing that is consistent, basically from the prophets on through all the way until like the epistles, it is the need to care for people who are in situations like being captives or in prison or orphans or widows or poor. Like, it is hard to find a more consistent theme throughout a huge swath of the Bible than that. The Bible's a pretty inconsistent book overall.
Mhm.
There's a lot of places where you can get whatever you want out of it. But that is a place where it is super clear and super consistent is the need to care for these people because otherwise you are not doing justice.
Yes.
The Bible basically defines justice as taking care of the people who need to be taken care of.
Yes. And that is exactly why like Strickland and Homan and Yep and people like that are extremely marginal within Catholicism.
Which is
Like-
good.
Like basically they are being allowed to currently they are being allowed to stay in the church because the people who are letting them stay in the church hope that one day some of what they're being told is actually going to get through their thick skulls. And they keep coming up with a bunch of, but have you considered nah, like YEC/FLIRF level arguments
Yeah.
for why they don't have to listen, which is why Strickland, for example, is like wrote this like fiery letter in support of the SSPX's announcement that they're going to ordain an unknown number of new bishops on July 1st. And he thinks that's okay.
I have a question that actually does regard discipline, which is I know that in some places there has been a rule that when a clergyman enters the territory of a bishop, that he is supposed to write or contact that bishop to announce that he's doing that and seek permission. Is that currently a thing in the Roman Catholic Church? And if so, do you think Strickland did it?
yes and no.
Okay.
Basically, like, okay, you have like a clergyman has like freedom of travel.
Right.
So say like Strickland, so like say like Bishop Dolan. I'm gonna pick on him because he's my bishop.
That seems fair.
Like if Bishop Dolan like got in a car and like drove to New York City, he does not have to have written permission from every single bishop whose diocese he crosses.
Right. But
In
like the
order to do
destination
that.
one, right?
But like if he wants to do like anything official,
Okay.
or if he wants to offer mass in a church, or if he wants to give a public address like in a church or any kind of like official religious gathering, he has to have permission.
Okay.
The reason why Strickland is getting away with this is because this is like a secular gathering of lay people
Called Catholics for Catholics.
called Catholics for Catholics,
Mm,
right? But
hmm.
yeah, well, yes. See, that's the
Mm.
problem is that like the Catholic Church, in order, has to some degree fallen victim to the paradox of tolerance. But on the other hand, kind of what they're doing is it just sort of like pushing people further and further and further to the margins
Right.
until finally they become so marginalized that their only option is to either leave the church or get their act together. And Strickland has gone about as far as he can before he has to either leave the church or get his act together.
Well, it seems like if he's going to be endorsing the illicit ordination of some bishops, it doesn't seem like he's getting his act together, and he might be
Well,
cruising
and
for
and
removal.
see, this is why we next Thursday, I hope you will come back to Schism Watch 2026. Because the Grand Inquisitor. Oh, okay. Yes, I know. It's the head of the dicastery for the doctrine of the faith.
He's
In
the
my
Grand
heart,
Inquisitor.
in my heart, he should be the Grand Inquisitor. But the Grand Inquisitor has already noted that anybody who participates in the consecration of the SSPX bishops will be automatically excommunicated, which is pretty much the way that the Catholic Church is kind of handling excommunication in general.
There's certain things you do that are just automatic.
Yeah, it's like basically instead of having like a show trial, because they know that if the Catholic Church is putting somebody on trial for heresy, in the heads of a whole lot of people, the person who's being put on trial is automatically Galileo.
Yeah, I guess I
So,
get that.
yeah, so rather than formally excommunicating people or formally putting people on trial for heresy, the policy lately has been basically to just say, if you do this, you are excommunicated. And then, like, let the excommunication be self-enforcing.
See, I think it's the self-enforcing thing that I feel like makes that hard to actually enforce at all, because I feel like it would be pretty easy for someone to just go and attend this approvingly, and as long as they're not well known as someone who has done that, to then just go present themselves for communion anywhere.
Also, that's something that I probably should have clarified at the very beginning of the conversation on excommunication. Excommunication is not shunning.
No.
A Catholic who has been excommunicated is not released from their weekly obligation to attend Mass.
Yeah, you're not in communion. That's the communion part that you're barred
Right,
from.
right. They're expected to not go up there. And really the other reason why they make the excommunicated part like self-enforcing is because nowadays a lot of like communion will be just like the priest does the consecration, right?
Hmm.
But when it's time to actually distribute the communion, when it's time to actually distribute the host, there will be lay people or deacons who are called extraordinary ministers of the Eucharist who
Yeah.
come up and get a little bowl that has the host in it.
Yeah.
And then they go and distribute it. And people just like line up.
Well, that's why I've been careful to say present himself for communion rather than just go to church.
Right. Well, and also the thing is, though, is like when you're talking present yourself for communion, it's entirely possible that he could end up standing in front of like some nice little old lady who genuinely does not know who he is.
Right.
And if the nice little old lady, like, you know, basically it's not on her.
Yeah.
Because but what I mean is that like under canon law, it could be on her. So the general thing has just become to say if you take communion and you're not worthy to take communion, that's on your head.
Yeah, see, I get the look. I don't want to go into a whole thing about excommunication again because I think we already beat that horse to death.
Yeah.
I feel like there are advantages and disadvantages, and I feel like in this case it might be one of those things where it's just like someone thinking to themselves, "Well, I feel like I'm worthy, so whatever."
Yeah.
And
Well,
then at that point, it's not really an effective anything. It's not even really an effective
Well,
like request
and see that's the problem though, is that like the SSPX, for example, they don't think that they're excommunicated.
Right.
They refuse to believe that they're excommunicated. So or rather when they were excommunicated, they refused to believe it. And they refuse to believe that on July 1st their excommunication will be valid. And it has not been said explicitly what will happen to like anybody who goes to an SSPX chapel. But Tuco did say that there will be some sort of consequences for anyone affiliated with or supporting the SSPX.
So does that mean just attending, or does that actually mean like communing there?
It could mean attending.
Wow, that would be
Like
strict.
like they could, in theory, say any Catholic who crosses the threshold of an SSPX chapel is excommunicated.
That would be stricter than I would likely go. Like, that would be.
But I mean, theoretically, they could do it.
Yeah.
Like there's a shrine. There's like a shrine in Korea where this woman claims to have had visions of the Virgin Mary, and it got really weird and culty really, really fast.
Oh, I think I heard about that.
Yeah, and basically the bishop, in order to like shut that nonsense down, said nobody's allowed to go there.
Hey, I mean,
like you can't take her stuff, you can't, no. I actually read a report from a like faithful Catholic who went there to see her, who like just to see like what was going on, and like as an investigator, who like just to be sure actually went to confession after.
That makes sense.
Yeah. She could have gotten a dispensation beforehand, but you know, she was an American in Korea, and it was probably easier to just go to confession after.
Yeah. I mean, if I were the priest doing the confession, I might have said, next time you should probably try to get a dispensation.
Yeah. But
Oh,
yeah.
Did you know that the entirety of the United States for the Eastern Orthodox Church gets a dispensation for fasting rules for Thanksgiving?
I did not know that, but that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yep, it's because it's normally during the Nativity fast. So
Ah,
normally turkey would be a big no-no.
Yeah.
Well, a big no-no that's not enforced by anyone in any way. But like,
But yeah,
no.
but it would still be a no-no. Well, I mean,
Right.
well, the thing is really, I think that religious rule in general, I believe that religious rules function best when they're self-enforcing.
Yeah. I would say that's especially true for fasting because if you're
Yeah,
fasting for other people, then you're definitely not doing it for the right reason.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know about the Eastern Orthodox being freed from that obligation. I know that like one of the few times that you'll really run across an indulgence being granted is when St. Patrick's Day falls on a Friday during Lent.
Ah, you can still eat the corned beef?
Yeah, because yes, sometimes if you're really lucky, they'll grant a dispensation or an indulgence so you can get the corned beef.
Hmm.
Bishop Dolan didn't do that the last time it happened.
Boo.
Yeah, so everybody had to have their corned beef either before or after St. Patrick's Day.
Oh well. I prefer beef tongue anyway.
Yeah, but you know, you have to have course and of course all the Irish people in Ireland are, if any of them ever watch this, are going to be like, what the heck are you going on about, woman?
Oh, I've seen Irish people react to American St. Patrick's Day,
Oh yeah,
and they're just like, "This is very confusing."
yeah, they're like, no, this is, yeah. When it's St. Patrick's Day, I will actually like do a little explainer on like what St. Patrick's Day means for like American Irish Catholics.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, because that's my dad's family background. So I'm familiar and it's a whole thing.
We should listen to more of the bishop.
We should listen to more of the bishop. We should listen to more of the bishop.
Unfortunately.
We have like 2 minutes. Let's put him out of his misery. Not literally, figuratively. Put us out of our misery.
Because who else will speak for them? If their fathers, their spiritual fathers won't speak up, we can't turn a blind eye to any of them. And so let us pray for the shepherds whose hearts are too often far from embracing these realities. It's tough to acknowledge, but we must. We can't pretend that open borders are a blessing to anyone.
That is not how any of that works.
Truth, or we find chaos.
Okay, hold on. Dude, the reason that okay, let's just accept his numbers, right? I'm just going to pretend that his numbers are accurate, right? Because there is a non-zero number that of children who are in the situation he's complaining about. So it's not no one, right? The reason that these people are in the situation is specifically because the borders aren't open. If you didn't need to have to worry about borders that aren't open, these children would just cross with their families, stay in the care of their families, and everything would be fine. It is specifically that the borders aren't open that this problem even exists to the degree to which it does exist, which again is exaggerated, but it's still there. And I just
Yeah.
it's like it's like when people say like, "Oh, well, we need to keep prostitution illegal because people beat up prostitutes." Yeah, the only reason they can do that is because if they go and report their abuse, they get in trouble for the prostitution. And I'm not saying everyone should go out and be a prostitute, but look, I'm in the company of St. Augustine of Hippo and saying it shouldn't be illegal.
Mm-hmm.
And the problems you're complaining about are the problems you're advocating to continue. This is that bit pissed me off. I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah. I can tell. I can tell you're pissed off. Personally, I'm kind of pissed off at the fact that like this guy is like talking smack about his like, you know, people above him or theoretically parallel to him in the hierarchy who are like really coming out there and like
Materially helping.
yeah, and like materially helping and materially doing the right thing. For example, there was a march in Texas and a pro-migrant march in Texas, and one of the bishops was wearing a stole that had pictures of Saint Arthur Romero on them, which is basically the Catholic equivalent of saying, "Come at me, bro."
Wasn't that the one who was murdered while saying mass?
Yes, yes,
There was a Raul Julia movie about that guy.
yes, that guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Oscar Romero. He actually started out as an incredibly conservative priest who, once he found out what was actually going on,
Yeah.
like became one of the leading figures in liberation, what's now known as liberation theology.
You might not believe this, but completely unconnected to this show, I was actually talking about that specific guy to Vishanti, and we might end up watching the movie about him.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, because we had a conversation about like she and I about the fact that like liberation theology is a really big thing in some parts of the like the Catholic world, and that like it's very, very different in the US.
Yeah.
And I was like, and so I just started talking about Romero, and I was like, yeah, there's even a movie. We could watch it. And she said, oh, who's in it? I was like, oh, Raul Julia. He plays the titular character. And she's like, oh, I love him. Let's do it. So Vishanti and I might be watching
Oh,
a
cool.
non-Catholic and a Jewish woman might be watching a movie about a left-wing bishop.
Well, you know what? Our Oscar Romero is like someone that I don't know as much about as I should, but I really respect him.
Oh yeah.
And I think he has the best quote about this, which is, when I fed the poor, people called me a saint. When I asked why they were poor, they called me a communist.
Yep. It's an amazingly good quote.
Yeah, it's like, because that's the truth. And the thing is that like Oscar Romero and liberation theology have like in the past 30 years have been kind of increasingly incorporated into Catholic thought and Catholic social teaching, which is why Strickland, instead of being there, you know, actually doing a useful job, has a blog and a podcast and has to get up in front of like a would you call this a C or D tier political organization?
Oh, D.
Yeah. In front of a D tier political organization and whine about how everybody should pray that a miracle will occur and everyone will agree that he's right.
Yeah. I mean, look, to a large extent, liberation theology is just saying, hey, you know that whole prophetic critique that's like all over the Bible? What if we took that seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah, what if? I don't know.
Yeah.
Seems like a thing you could do. It's my favorite part of the Bible.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why like and again, that's why these people are marginal.
I probably only have about 50 more minutes, so I think we should probably try to get a little bit more in.
Okay, well, let's finish this. I think we can actually finish it.
And too much chaos is what we've seen. And these children are suffering because of the chaos that I've allowed. We've allowed, in whatever way we've been complacent and allowed leaders to do things that devastated families and individuals. in the so-called name of charity and welcoming. What a false message that is. I've gotten a little carried away. I'm just supposed to pray. Well, let us stand and pray together.
Okay, I'm going to stop because
Yeah, that seems fair.
I think if I hear him pray that like I do not want to participate in someone else taking the Lord's name in vain.
That seems reasonable.
Because that was exactly how I felt when he was telling everybody, oh, pray the rosary, which is like, it especially annoyed me that he was trying to like make it sound like this like massive, you know, like thing that you had never heard of before.
Right.
When that's like literally like the most basic Catholic thing that
Yeah, the rosary.
that anybody can do.
Yeah. I mean, I guess technically I could go do it. I have rosary beads.
Oh, yeah, anybody can pray the rosary. Well, I mean, like as long as they okay. The Catholic Church does not consider praying the rosary to be closed practice. Anybody who wants to pray the rosary is more than welcome to pray the rosary, and in fact, we encourage it. Because, you know, saying all those Hail Marys just kind of like does something to your brain.
Yeah, it's a meditative practice. It's like there's science behind that.
Yeah,
it's a real thing.
Meditative practice, but also one of the things that it does to your brain is it makes you go, you know what? I could go be Catholic.
Or Anglican. There's some Anglicans who make that part of their practice. Anglo-Catholics.
Yeah, there are Anglicans who pray the rosary too.
I think some Western Rite Orthodox Christians might do it. I'm not positive. There's a very small community of people.
I don't know.
They do exist, but I think the number of Western Rite Orthodox parishes in the world is something you might not run out of fingers before you name all of them.
Yeah.
But they do exist.
Yes,
technically.
Yes. There is a great deal of existence. So anyway, we're done with John Yep. We're done with Catholics for Catholics.
That's good.
Hopefully they will never.
They piss me off.
Hopefully they will never like do something again that involves blaspheming Our Lady of Guadalupe.
They almost certainly will.
So we don't have to spend an inordinate amount of time yelling at them. But Dapper, would you be able to come back next Thursday to hear more about what the SSPX is up to?
I think so. I'm gonna have to double check. So
Okay.
message me again, but the answer is probably yes.
Okay, cool.
As Pibble Plunk in the chat says, there are dozens of us. Dozens. That might actually be the right number of Western Rite or Eastern Orthodox Christians that exist.
Yeah, it's entirely possible.
Yeah. There have been mass conversions of Western Christians to Eastern Orthodoxy, but they almost always adopt Eastern rites.
Yeah. The only Western Christians, at least in the US, that I'm aware of that have converted en masse have all been evangelicals that are converting to like the Russian Orthodox Church.
There was a mass conversion of evangelicals, and they were accepted into the Antiochian Archdiocese. But also they had started using the Divine Liturgy of John Chrysostom before their mass conversion.
Okay.
I've met some of those people.
Yeah, cool.
I've met a lot of people in a lot of churches. I don't know if that's obvious or not.
Yeah. I the only ones I had heard about was like the mass conversion of evangelicals in the South, in the American South specifically. So
yeah. Oh, actually, speaking of the Russian Orthodox Church, the Russian Orthodox Church outside of Russia, ROKOR, which is one of the main jurisdictions of the Eastern Orthodox Church in the United States, they wrote a nastygram to Patriarch Kirill about his support for the ongoing war in Ukraine. So
really?
If that might be another like a reverse schism watch that you could do is like, will the various churches who've broken communion with the Patriarch of Moscow inside the Eastern Orthodox Communion ever rejoin with the Patriarch of Moscow? Will he ever be let back into the fold? Because now,
or will they just, you know, except Patriarch Bartholomew.
Yeah. I mean, Bartholomew is not in communion with Kirill right now.
Well,
And a
that's what I
lot
mean.
of the
Well,
a lot
that's
of the
what I
other
mean.
groups have gone
But
with
but
Bartholomew.
but theoretically, the Russian Orthodox Church outside of Russia could go
Oh,
to
yeah.
Patriarch Bartholomew and say, "Hey, can we be like part of your thing?"
Well, his
I
the,
mean,
the,
theoretically,
it's possible, yeah.
yeah, I mean, theoretically, the Russian Orthodox Church outside of Russia could go to Pope Leo and say, "Hey,
That's less likely. It would be
it's
more likely for them to try to integrate their parishes into the Greek Archdiocese,
yeah,
which would be awkward, and there would be even more problems with overlapping bishoprics, which is already a pretty big problem for the Eastern Orthodox Church in North America, because every single one of the jurisdictions came over piecemeal as just like individual priests occasionally like immigrating because there were people who needed a priest, and then like eventually bishops being elected by like the church back home, and like there was no plan or anything. So like the Catholic Church had a pretty neat orderly like, okay, we're going to divide up, dioceses, and each one will get a bishop, and the Eastern Orthodox Church was just like 18 different national churches just kind of showing up with priests and occasionally having a bishop pop up here and there, not illicitly or
yeah,
anything, but like
yeah,
yeah, it was a whole lot of mess.
yeah." I've never understood why the Orthodox in America haven't just like decided that there should be an American Orthodox Church, but I'm not Orthodox, so I don't pretend to understand the politics that would be involved in that. And I
It's mostly
imagine,
because none of the bishops want to give up being the bishop of the place they're the bishop of,
yeah,
which they would all have to, because there's no one who can tell them what to do, because the episcopacy of the Eastern Orthodox Church doesn't have a guy who's in charge of it.
yeah, but I mean, you still have to have bishops.
Yeah, but
It's not like they're going to not be bishops.
it's true. But in the Eastern Orthodoxy, the idea of being a bishop is far more tied to the territory. Like the idea of a assistant bishop, it's not much of a thing. You're
Yeah,
a bishop of a place, and if that place has too many people, then you split that place.
yeah,
And there you go. And also, if the place is big enough but you don't have enough bishops, you might just not get an episcopal visit that year.
yeah.
So, and that's part of the thing where we were talking before the show started. I think there's a lot more differences in ecclesiology between the Roman Catholic Church and the Eastern Orthodox Church than a lot of Roman Catholics appreciate.
I think that that's probably true. I think that like we just kind of see like guys in cool outfits and assume that they're equivalent to our guys who wear cool outfits.
And in some ways they are.
Because like some of our guys who wear cool outfits wear the same cool outfits.
True. Yeah. Eastern
So,
Catholic bishops do not tend to have very much difference in the way in the like aspect of vestments.
well, yes, which is why you can always spot the Eastern Catholic bishops like at the papal conclave.
Because they got the round miters and everything.
Well, they've got the round miters and they'll have like black robes with like
Hmm.
piles of embroidery and
Oh yeah.
like yeah,
Giant pectoral crosses,
yeah,
medallions with the Virgin Mary.
I forget his name, but like the youngest cardinal is an Australian guy who's from one of like the Eastern Catholic churches. And I mean, he had drip like for
Oh yeah.
days.
Oh yeah.
For days. There were memes about this guy. Like during the conclave, he got memes because he had so much drip.
All right, well, I do have to get going pretty soon.
Yeah,
So
I have to get going too. So anyway, we're done with Catholics for Catholics, and
woo.
we're continuing with our series on the SSPX, and Dapper is going to be doing cool stuff on Saturday. And
Yes.
then Nerd Church is going to be here on Sunday at the normal time, and we'll see you guys later.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.